Welcome to First Things First, the weekday morning devotions from Pastor Stephen Miller at First Free Will Baptist Church of Morrison City in Kingsport, Tennessee.
Well, good morning. Welcome to First Things First. Today is Monday, December the 18th. It's glad that you join me today. Thankful for God's blessings and what He has done, what I know He's going to do, and thankful for great services yesterday and great service yesterday morning, and then kicked it off last night with the candlelight service, and that's always a great blessing. And getting to uh, participate in such a wonderful event, and then hearing testimonies from people afterwards, as they're lighting the candles going around, and it's always great to hear people talking about their blessings and talking about the ones that they miss, and it's quite a bit of that story, and quite a bit of that service, and just talking about those that we've missed and that we've uh, longed to see, and we're going to get to see them again in heaven one of these days. And what a blessing again it was to be a part of that service. If you missed it, I just tell you, you missed out on a good service last night. But anyways, as we continue on, we're getting closer and closer to Christmas. Hard to believe it. Christmas Day is just 1 week from today, and I'm just so thankful for what God is doing and what we know. Again, we know what He's going to do. Looking forward, and the great gifts that He has already given to us, that we don't deserve, that we're unworthy of, but He still gives us those great gifts. And so what a blessing it is to be saved and to be a child of God this morning. And this morning, as we look, we're going to continue on in the story of Joseph and see how that he was blessed, and how that he was grateful to be a child of God as well, because God had taken him from the pit, and now, as we talked about it last week, he was in the palace, and the Pharaoh had made him ruler over all of the land. The only one that was higher up in the system was Pharaoh himself. And this is what God had done. God had put him there for such a time as this, as the famine had grown, and then the famine had spread, widespread. Now it's about, I think it's about 9 years after Joseph had interpreted the dream, and we see the bad part of or the good part of the dream had come forth, and they had stored up the corn for the 7 bad years, and then the famine hit, and about 2 years into the famine, Joseph's brothers and his son, his father, got hungry, and they saw that there was corn, or they understood that there was corn, there was grain in Egypt, and they went down to Egypt to get that. And now we're seeing how that they didn't recognize Joseph at first, and we see that in today's lesson in chapter 42 of Genesis, verses 6 through 9, which says, "And Joseph was the governor over all the land, and he was that sold to all the people of the land. And Joseph's brethren came and bowed down themselves before him with their faces to the earth. And Joseph saw his brethren, and knew them, but made himself strange unto them, and spake roughly with them, or unto them. And he said unto them, Whence come ye? And they said, From the land of Canaan, to buy food. And Joseph knew his brethren, but they knew not him. And Joseph remembered the dreams which he dreamed of them, and said unto them, Ye are spies, to see the nakedness of the land are ye come? And they said unto him, Nay, my lord, but to buy food are thy servants come. And it says, We are all one man's son, we are true men, thy servants are no spies. And as we look at this and we see again the first reactions to whenever Joseph met his brothers there again, and this time it was on Joseph's turn. You remember the last time that Joseph had seen his brothers, that they had uh, put him in a pit, stripped him of his robe of many colors, and they had left him there, and then they turned around and sold him into slavery. And no doubt by this time, they thought that he was probably dead as being a slave. Life expectancy wasn't very high for the slaves, especially back then. And so we see that this is what the brothers thought, whenever they uh, did away with him. Well, he's somebody else's problem now, and they just left him for dead and left him for somebody else to worry about. They had no idea and had no thoughts that Joseph would ever come back, or especially Joseph, they'd even see Joseph again, or especially that Joseph would be in such great power and leadership. And as they looked, again, the last time that they had seen him, they had taken that robe of many colors off of him, and now he's dressed in royal apparel, and he has the Pharaoh's jewelry on. No doubt he's probably changed his appearance somewhat as far as his hairstyle and the way that they did things, especially the clothes. So they did not recognize Joseph there, and probably because they were servants and they looked down upon, they were probably bowed down, probably didn't even look up to see the ruler that was in front of him anyways. And so they didn't recognize him. And Joseph come, and he was going to try to see if their attitudes had changed here. And then he wasn't that he was going to be rough with them, or he wanted to be rough with them, but he wanted to see if their attitudes had changed, and how that they were doing things now. And as they come up, Joseph spoke roughly to them, just to try them out to see where they were. And he told them, said, "You're spies. You come to spy the land, to see that we're in this famine, and to see what we are, and where we're at. And you're spies." And the brothers were, at this time backpedaling, trying to think, no, we're not spies. We're just come to get food. We're hungry. We're all of one family. We have our father, that's back home, that he's hungry. We just come for food. That's all we want. And but I'm glad that this is the start of something that would be great that would happen. And Joseph tried them a few times coming up, but then he finally reveals himself, and we'll probably get into that here this week. But I'm glad that whenever we know that God is still in control, no matter the circumstances. Again, here it was Joseph that came from the pit to the palace, and that dream had been fulfilled that he had dreamed years ago, that his brothers would bow down to him. And now it's coming to fruition. It's there, and Joseph's brothers are bowing down to him, and he's has to think back and think about the vision that God had gave him about this coming, and it was coming to pass just as God said it was. It took some years, took some time, but it still came to pass because God is in control. And today, can I tell you that no matter what you're going through, no matter what we're facing in life, that if God said that he's going to be with you, he is going to be with you. It may seem like it's a far reach where you're at right now. You may be going through difficulties and problems in life that you just don't understand why that you're there. But can I tell you, just keep on trusting God through it all. And I know that God is going to bless, God is going to strengthen you, and God will use you. You know, this is that God used Joseph to turn things around in Egypt, and not only in Egypt, but in his own family, as we'll see later on that his whole family came down from the Canaan and came down into the land of Egypt and stayed there for many years. And I'm glad that God had provision that was waiting. Again, we know that there was a lot of other things happen later on after Joseph would die, but as for right now, we see that God can still use people, and He can use you as well. Whenever you come out of your circumstances that you're in right now, whatever it is, God is going to be able to use you in that and be a strength and a help to somebody else. I believe that, and I trust in that, and I know that even in that, if God doesn't take us out of these pains and out of these problems, He's going to give us a home in heaven one of these days. What joy that there's going to be whenever we get there, and there's not going to be any more pains, no more sorrows, no more sicknesses, no more heartaches. What a wonderful place that's going to be, and I can't wait to be there, and I hope that you have made your plans to join me in that land and in that place called heaven. And we're going to only get there by Jesus Christ, by His grace, by His mercy. So if you haven't made those plans, then I encourage you, do what you can. Be saved today. Uh, Trust in the Lord. Put your faith in Him, and know that He is still in control and that He's going to take us to heaven one of these days. We'll just, again, put our trust in Him. So God bless you. Hope that you have a blessed day today as we start off this work week. Again, counting down to Christmas Day and looking forward to that. And I hope that the Lord is blessing you in this Christmas season. And I want to say Merry Christmas to you all, and hope to see you tomorrow morning for another edition of First Things First. May God bless you as our prayers.
First Things First is a ministry of First Free Will Baptist Church of Morrison City. We are located at 211 West Carters Valley Road in Kingsport, Tennessee.